esteemed ladies and gentlemen of the press, senior officers from defense headquarters and service headquarters, good morning and welcome to today's media briefing. I would like to start by saying that troops are simultaneously fighting in various theaters across the country, as you all know, because you just recently came back from media tour to various theaters. So we are simultaneously fighting the terrorists in these theaters to deal with the various threats that exist within these theaters. And the aim is clear, and that is to find and destroy the terrorists and their cohorts wherever they may be hiding in order to ensure their enduring defeat. The defeat of these terrorists is non-negotiable, as it will deny terrorists the ability to terrorize or hurt citizens of this country. Accordingly, troops conducted offensive operations during the month of April, and these operations ranged from ambushes to raids to fighting patrols and other covert operations in order to deal with the terrorism that we're faced with. Now, what has become obvious from our operations is that tactically, whenever there's a clash between troops and terrorists on the ground, troops clearly win in the firefight. Though sadly, in certain instances, casualties are sustained by own forces. However, each and every engagement event ends up with troops' victory, with several dead or surrendered terrorists in every location. Likewise, our air assets conducted aggressive air flights during the month of April. Whenever air assets confirm terrorist presence and their movement of terrorist commanders and their foot soldiers, the targets are acquired and fighter jets are scrambled to carry out major bombarding raids on significant terrorist enclaves or terrorist activities that have been observed and acquired. Accordingly, during the month of April, several terrorist leaders' enclaves were engaged. And these enclaves include that of terrorist commander, one of which is Nasanda and his loyalists. They were taken out in Zulmi local government area of Katsina State. Another, which took place on the 13th of April during the airstrike, three senior terrorist commanders, namely Ali Dawood, Bakura Fallujah, and Malam Airi, were neutralized at Koleram along the Lake Chad region. Additionally, on the 15th of April, the enclave of terrorist commander Babaru in Kankara local government area of Katsina State was destroyed. While on the 19th of April, the terrorist hideout belonging to a senior terrorist commander named Kamilu Buzaru in Damusa local government area of Katsina State, and that enclave was decimated. Also, on the 20th of April, a gathering of senior terrorist commanders, namely Ado Aliro and Kamilu Basaru in Damusa local government area of Katsina State, was disrupted by airstrikes. The battle damage assessment of all these airstrikes revealed that several terrorist combatants and their commanders were neutralized in the course of the airstrikes. Other terrorist leaders and commanders engaged by our airstrikes include that of Malam Yadi at Meriga local government area of Niger State. Then there's the enclave belonging to terrorist commander Abdullahi Nasanda and Malam Tukur in Zurbi local government and Gusau local government areas of Zamfara State, and they were equally engaged in the month of April. Additionally, the enclave of Malam Umar and several other commanders located in Alawa Forest area of Niger State were engaged. Others include Bello Tuji's camp in Kagara Forest, located between Shinkafi in Zamfara and Isa local government area in Sokoto. All the surviving commanders that have escaped these attacks, I can say, are walking corpses. It is just a question of sooner than later before they will be taken out of the battlefield. From all this, you will observe that the synchronized strikes between the ground and air forces during the period of April has resulted in several casualties. Indeed, 715 terrorists were neutralized in the month of April. And during the process, troops arrested 146 persons and rescued 465 kidnapped hostages. Furthermore, troops recovered 937 assorted weapons and over 23,000 assorted ammunition, and denied the oil theft of an estimated sum of over 2 billion naira in the month of April. The breakdown of some of these includes and is not limited to the following: 495 AK-47 rifles were recovered in the month of April. 190 locally fabricated guns were recovered in the month of April. 43 pump-action guns were recovered by troops. 151 Den guns were recovered. Over 11,000 rounds of 7.62mm special ammo were recovered by troops in the month of April, and over 500 rounds of 9mm MM were recovered by troops in the month of April across the various theaters of operation. Other recoveries include over 2.5 million liters of stolen crude oil recovered in the month of April. Over 254,000 liters of illegally refined AGO was recovered in the month of April. Over 1,000 liters of DPK, otherwise known as kerosene, was recovered in the month of April, as well as over 8,000 liters of PMS, otherwise known as petrol, was recovered, among other items, in the month of April. At this time, I want to speak briefly about the Tudunbiri incident that occurred in Kaduna State, as the investigation has been concluded. The military has conducted a painstaking investigation into the Tudunbiri incident that occurred in Kaduna State and has initiated disciplinary action against those that we found culpable. Accordingly, the affected personnel are to face a court-martial for acts of omission or commission with respect to the Tudunbiri incident. I'm, however, constrained to speak much about the incident, as it will be adjudged as prejudicial, being a case before a court-martial. However, it must be made clear that the incident was a mistake and the victims of the strike were mistaken for terrorists. On this note, on behalf of the Chief of Defense Staff, General C.J. Musa, officers and personnel of the Armed Forces of Nigeria, our condolences goes out to the families and the loved ones of all those killed in that very sad strike. It is hoped that there will be no more repeat of strikes on non-combatants in our ongoing operations across the country. The military will take extra precaution in the future to ensure that non-combatants are safe. Thank you very much. And that brings us to the end of today's media briefing. All right, so to observe our 1 minute silence, we will use this video so that as we watch it, we can say a prayer for our troops. You can say a prayer for our troops. You know, when you look at the video, you can see a sea of buried troops. I will say that these troops are human beings just like you and I. They have mothers, fathers, they have brothers, sisters, they have children, they have wives, they have loved ones. But they put themselves in harm's way to secure our nation, to make sure that our citizens are safe and protected from acts of terrorism and anything that can hurt them. The basics for our operation is to make sure that we secure Nigeria and Nigerians, and they have the ability to go about their daily activity without fear. So let's rise and observe a 1 minute silence for our troops. May the souls of the departed heroes rest in perfect peace.